what's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another vid. Looks like Luis King Kong Ortiz has signed a deal with Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn's promotion, which to me, that's very, very surprising. And the reason why I say that is because Luis Ortiz is a Cuban heavyweight who's based here in America. And after his fallout with Golden Boy and his contract being bought out by his co-promoter Day Promotions, many people like myself would have expected Luis to go ahead and sign with Al Heyman. And the reason why we would expect that move because Al Heyman does have a huge roster of heavyweights, and more than a handful of those guys are getting title shots or have received title shots, and they're ranked one of the top heavyweights in the world. So, with that said, if he would have signed with Heyman, he would have been in better. He would have been angling a. He would have been an angle of getting a title shot at perhaps like Deontay Wilder or whoever within a short span of time. And given the fact that Ortiz is up in age, his unofficial age is 37, but his actual age could be 40. We do know he is coming from Cuba. He's a defector, so we don't know how that goes. But yeah, this is very surprising that Eddie Hearn would sign Luis Ortiz. Now, a lot of people are going to question this move by Eddie Hearn and wondering what's his real motive behind signing Eddie Hearn. I know when I first reported that his fallout with Golden Boy had occurred, I suggested that he would go sign with Al Heyman. Now, some of the guys in my comment section saying that he should sign with Eddie Hearn. And to me, I kind of disagree with that move because Eddie Hearn does not have a big roster of heavyweights. I mean, yes, he got Anthony Joshua, which is his biggest cash cow. He is the IBF heavyweight champion. But other than that, he doesn't have a track record of giving, heavyweights a title shot other than Anthony Joshua. Yes, he has Dillian Whyte, and I think he has David Price. I think he's, David Price is signed with him. I have to go back and check, but I'm sure of it. But other than those three guys, I mean, Anthony Joshua was the only one who's gotten a title shot, and eventually he did prevail and become the world champion. So Heyman, he has, as I mentioned, he has Charles Martin, he had Arthur Spilka, he has Gerald Washington, who's ranked in the top, perhaps at the top 15th or top 14th in the world, but top 10 in the WBC rankings. Deontay Wilder is the champion. Chris Ariella and Dominic Brazil. Those guys all received title shots within a short span of time. So, it's very surprising now. What could Eddie Hearn possibly do with Luis Ortiz? Now, the news that came about following up to the signing is that Eddie Hearn announced that after Luis Ortiz gets past his opponent coming up, which was supposedly Carlos Takam, and I'm going to touch upon that later in the video because the word just came out that Takam has just pulled out of the Luis Ortiz fight. I'll talk about that. But whoever his unnamed opponent is going to be, Eddie Hearn stated that Luis Ortiz will return and be on a big card in the UK coming up. So that is an indication that Luis Ortiz will be relocating to the UK. So looking at this, I don't see Eddie Hearn setting up Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz. Not right now, unless Luis Ortiz is going to slow down, which, I mean, he is up in age. Once you get older and once you be put in tough fights, you will slow down. So I don't know. Maybe that's Eddie Hearn's motive to put Ortiz in tough fights and see if he slows down. And then once he does slow down, he'll take a big payday to fight Anthony Joshua and put him over. Well, I mean by put him over, make Anthony Joshua look good. I don't know. This is all speculation. Don't quote me on this. I'm just speculating right now. It could be. You can call me crazy for saying it, but it's possible because I don't see him putting him in there with Joshua at this moment. But I'll be very shocked and surprised if Anthony Joshua gets in there with Luis Ortiz at this stage. Dillian Whyte? Dillian Whyte's not afraid of anybody. He'll fight anybody. He don't care who it is. But I really doubt that his manager would even want Dillian Whyte to go near Ortiz at this point. I really doubt that. David Price, Uh, nah, I mean, let's be honest here. I like David Price, but we don't see he doesn't stand a chance against Luis Ortiz, especially that his punch resistance is terrible. But let's be fair though, he has gained massive weight. Maybe the more weight that he put on has helped his punch resistance. I don't know. We have to see because his chin hasn't been quite tested ever since his chin hasn't been tested after his comeback and the fact that he put on more weight. So we'll see. But I mean, I don't see Ortiz fighting Price at this time anytime soon either. So the question must be asked here is what in the hell is Eddie Hearn going to do with Luis Ortiz? It's very very it's very very it's very, very weird how this is being played out here. So, I mean, to be fair though, Eddie Hearn does have a good relationship with Showtime here in the U.S. So perhaps he could get Luis Ortiz to fight some of the Al Heyman guys. Maybe Gerald Washington, maybe Arthur Spilka, maybe Dominic Brazil, maybe Charles Martin when he does decide to return. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here, but again, I just don't have the answers to it. But I will tell you this though. I will go ahead and read a couple of things here what Eddie Hearn had to say about the signing of Luis Ortiz. Uh, First things first, he is going to be making his European debut in November, that's the next Matchroom card coming up, and that's supposed to be the same time that he was supposed to fight Takam. But again, as I mentioned, Takam pulled out of the fight. All right, let me bring up this article here. I'm having trouble getting in. Wow, what's going on here? Uh-oh. My internet's back. Okay. Anyways, he is going to be fighting, on a UK card soon. So, under Matchroom Boxing. So we'll see when further information develops on that. Now, speaking of Carlos Takam, he has decided to pull out of the Luis Ortiz fight and focus on Johann Duhaupas. And this is the reason why he pulled out. He said, "quote Even though he initially agreed to fighting Luis Ortiz, but the reason why he's passing on the fight is because he felt that him and his team have felt that fighting Ortiz coming up is way too soon, and they wouldn't have enough time to properly prepare the fight. So instead of fighting Ortiz, he will fight Johann Duhaupas, and the reason being is because that will give him more time to prepare for that fight. And Duhaupas is the WBC silver champion, so he'll get the higher split, and the split between the two will be 65-35. 35% goes to Takam, 65% goes to Duhaupas. So that fight will be scheduled for either late December or early 2017. So that would give Takam enough time to prepare. Now, needless to say, though, that this is a duck coming from Carlos Takam, and this is the second time he's done this when it comes to Luis Ortiz. He had, back in when the time before Tony Thompson stepped in and fought Luis Ortiz earlier this year, Takam agreed to fight Ortiz. If for some reason he pulled out because the reason being, let me check that. The reason why he pulled out because he demanded a higher split to fight him, even though he initially agreed to the to one split. So this is the second time he pulled out of an Ortiz fight. No excuse. I can understand the date and all to a degree, but this is the second time he's done this to Luis Ortiz. He initially agreed to fight him, and now he pulls out again. So, it is what it is. Another blow to the heavyweight division. For now, this fight now has gotten called off. Wow. But needless to say, I'm going to close out this video here. I hope Eddie Hearn does right with Luis Ortiz. I hope he does give good fights. And I'm a fan of Eddie Hearn. I like Eddie Hearn. I really do. I really don't have not too much of no room for criticism of Eddie. But the only thing I do have to say is that he's notorious for like trying to strong arm the UK boxing fans by putting every card on pay-per-view. So that's his only room of criticism. But needless to say, let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I'm going to drop a link to the articles below on the signing of Luis Ortiz by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. and Carlos Takam pulling out of the fight against Luis Ortiz. So let me know what your thoughts are. Care to comment, share, subscribe. Signing off. Peace.